Good morning once again, and welcome to our Christian Formation. Our theme continues finding our place in God's story. And I think that nature, the great outdoors, the Cahaba River, is much more than a setting in God's story. It is most certainly another character. And for our guest speaker today, Will Ranier, it is a major character. Will is a part of the Cahaba River Society. He's the field programs director. He leads and plans and implements the river restoration projects and stewardship. He leads the paddling trips. If you've done Canoe-Christ, you have been under his great direction. If you have not had a chance to be part of our Canoe-Christ, the next one we have sign up. It fills up quickly, and it is truly an experience with God, for sure, in our lovely and on our lovely Cahaba River. So please welcome Will Ranier.
I need to turn that one off.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you all. Good morning. How are we? Good. Glad to hear it. I really appreciate the invitation to come speak today about finding our place in God's story. Thank you, Becky Bridges, for inviting me, to Kathy and Sheila for picking up after Becky left, to John Burris for his incredible support of CRS, St. Stephen's for hosting these awesome events. We have our annual event here every year too, or the last 2 years at least, and for being a great friend of the river, and to all of you for showing up today. My name is Will Ranier. I'm the Field Programs Director at the Cahaba River Society. For the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you guys about CRS, our history, our mission, and programs, and how passion, purpose, and community has helped CRS find our niche in the environmental movement, and me personally find my place in creation. How many of y'all have heard of CRS? Nice. Love that. Figures. CRS has been around since the late 80s with the mission of protecting and restoring the Cahaba River in all its life. That protection has happened in a few different ways over the years, from documenting billions of gallons of sanitary sewage overflows to battling chicken plants to navigating the destructive impacts of urbanization. The Cahaba River Society has strived for cooperative resolution to our ecological issues around water quality. This morning, when you brushed your teeth, took a shower, flushed the toilet, drank that glass of water, poured ice in your coffee, and enjoyed the climate control in your house, you benefited from the Cahaba River. Anyone know how much of our body is made up of water? Any guesses? It's around 60%, 60-70%. If your drinking water comes from the Birmingham Waterworks Board, you are made up of roughly 60% Cahaba River. That's an exaggeration. Some of the water comes from the Black Warrior too, whatever. But it's a pretty striking image, isn't it? You know, we're just little bags of Cahaba River water walking around. That's what Randy Haddock used to say. We live within a cycle and an enclosed environment that sustains us. In the biblical context, it's a gift from God. What sustains that environment, though? Who cares for this gift? Where do I belong? How do I fit in? What do I do? These are all questions we found ourselves asking. They're questions that we continue to ask throughout our lives, and the answers change as frequently as we do. From sports to majors to professions to hobbies to we seek purpose and community and belonging in so many different ways. We follow passions to so many ends. These passions can lead us to a state championship, a course that keeps us energized and curious, or a job that excites us out of bed every morning. At CRS, we believe that formative experiences can instill passion in individuals that lead, at the very least, to a care and understanding of a thing, in this case, the Cahaba. In the late 80s, passion led a group of anglers to begin one of the first river conservation organizations in a state that led the world in freshwater biodiversity, freshwater aquatic biodiversity. By following a passion, those early conservation pioneers found a purpose: protection and restoration of one of the most biologically diverse rivers in the southeastern U.S. Today, though the Cahaba River Society looks a bit different from its original cast, we are still on the prowl for polluters and working tirelessly on avenues for collaboration. We are still a voice for the river. In addition to a strong sustainability program grown from those early days, CRS has built a strong education program. In the mid-90s, CRS introduced CLEAN into our programming. Children Linking with the Environment Across the Nation is a program by which we have introduced roughly 60,000 students, parents, teachers, and administrators in Alabama to the Cahaba, and to environmental education through field trips, classroom visits, and a fairly robust online video catalog. From old coworkers, I've heard stories about students who admitted to never having touched a tree before joining the CLEAN program. Forget canoeing, some of these kids had never stepped in a river. I don't care what you believe, but that's sacrilege in the state of Alabama. It was my passion for the outdoors that led me to studies in forestry, geology, and hydrology, and a career guiding in the outdoors. It was through that passion that I found CRS. Literally, there was a guy who lived around the corner from me with a trailer full of canoes in his front yard. That guy was Gordon Black, who was my soon-to-be boss. I now have his job. I was blessed with experiences as a young boy that showed me my passion. Ask any of my coworkers at CRS, any of the other people in the environmental movement, and they'll tell you about formative experiences in childhood that led them to studies and careers in conservation. Those very same experiences are what we strive for every child in the Cahaba watershed. The river is there waiting for them, we just have to open the door. I grew up in a well-to-do family in Memphis. I went to a private high school and to summer camps and hunting leases. I had the incredible privilege of growing up in nature through my friends, my family, my school, and still, I had no experience like the one I get to share with students today. Many of these students have never played in a river. Either through generational trauma, cultural stigmas, or inequity in outdoor spaces, many of today's students have been cut off from the types of places that I discovered my passion in. How can children explore passions in the environment without access to it? Passion opens the door. But passion alone does not cut 95% of nitrate and phosphate loads or prevent chicken parts from floating downriver to a Girl Scout camp or encourage green infrastructure in an urban environment surrounding an Alabama outstanding water. Many of you are likely passionate about the outdoors as well. You may spend time there, you may take your kids, your family, literally anyone who will go sometimes. You are passionate about this place, and in some cases, that passion may have led to a purpose. Maybe you donate every year to environmental organizations. I've seen a couple of CRS tags out there. Maybe you pick a few days every year and go volunteer, give your time. Maybe you do both. Passion makes you smile. Purpose makes you grit your teeth and do something about it. Through my journey, I have found a purpose, sharing the passion I feel for this place with others. If a few of them decide to join the cause, and some have, amazing. If the result is that we have given the space to a few more kids to discover a new passion, then we count that as a huge success. In addition to the CLEAN program, CRS offers canoe trips and cleanups throughout the watershed. Has anyone been on a canoe trip with us? I know Sheila has. Nice. You want to share your experience in a couple words? Do you feel like talking? No. Okay, that's fair. Sheila gave you some about the canoe cruise that we do. It's a really awesome spot. Through these trips, CRS is able to connect with hundreds of people around the issues facing the Cahaba in a hard-hitting way that talks like these just can't. Part of our mission is to protect and restore. Part of our mission of protecting and restoring the watershed is just understanding that we can't do it alone. There's only 5 of us. One purpose that sits right at the heart of CRS is to provide an opportunity to know the river. We wholeheartedly believe that it is through knowing something that you care about taking care of something. Through our CLEAN program, we offer the opportunity to discover passion. Through our stewardship work, we offer the opportunity to explore purpose. In 2023, over 500 people came together to clean nearly 19,000 pounds of litter and invasive species from the river. It took a lot of work and was just amazing to watch. Over 30 partner organizations, including churches, school groups, nonprofits, corporate teams, civic institutions, garden clubs, bars, restaurants, and breweries, and passionate individuals. So many people came out, and so many of them came back again and again. We had volunteers who shared their talents with us off the water as well. A graphic designer who designed the t-shirts for Earth Week, a cleanup series I did back in April. Web developers and marketing researchers who took a deep dive at our website, definitely needs an update. Restaurant staff who invited us to use their space for our meetings. So many people came together to care for the river. This year, one of our partnerships was with the local bar. The owner and their friends are also Alabama anglers. They love the water and through their work wish to clean it up. I see this as a prime example of how one can use their situation to follow their purpose. One does not have to work in conservation to claim conservation as a purpose. We led a 5-part series through the summer, and after each event, we would meet back at the bar to hand out prizes from the day and just kind of be together. The community we felt after each event was surreal and inspiring, and I would look forward to doing those kind of events again. Our recreational canoe trips and our stewardship events are opportunities to share the work that CRS is doing. When you're out on the water in a canoe, we get a nicely captivated audience. Through these trips, we are able to build a strong community of knowledgeable advocates throughout the watershed. I'd like to take a minute to hear y'all's water story. This is an exercise I like to do sometimes on our trips. I'll give you mine as an example. My eighth birthday party was held in my backyard. My classmates and friends all came over for cake and ice cream and to play in the yard. And one of the highlights of the day was a blow-up slide. It's a big elephant head with a ladder up one trunk, a ball pit in the head, and a slide down the other trunk. It was amazing. It was so amazing that no one paid attention to me. I ended up wandering off from this attention-stealing elephant and found myself at the other end of the yard next to a water hose and a small hill. Some of you may see where this is going. I had one co-conspirator, William Mann. He and I turned on the hose and created a slide of our own. Our slide was so superior, in fact, that the elephant heads flocked to it. Water saved the day for me and created a memory that I will never forget. I'd like y'all to take a few moments and share your story with the people sitting around you if you feel so interested. I'll give you some time and start once I stop hearing voices. It's definitely easy to just keep going and going and going when you start talking about that. How do y'all feel about it after having shared that story? I mean, it's a really comforting thing to think about, right? For some, it is. Anybody feel like sharing their water story with the group?
I'll share one.
Yeah.
My wife, Babs, and I, our first kiss was at Cahaba.
Oh, nice. Where was it?
Where?
Yeah.
Down past Bluffton in the national park.
Oh, nice.
We went to see the lilies.
Oh, how beautiful. That's awesome. Anybody else? Yeah.
Someone from the table suggested that time my story. My mother's family was from the greater Knoxville area, and in the 30s, before the first TVA dam North Dam was built, my grandfather and my mother were baptized in the Clutch River.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Anybody else?
Similar to that a little bit, I grew up in Mobile, so I was around water all my life,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite place to probably be. But we had a little man-made lake in our neighborhood, and when I was 4, the Red Cross sent an instructor to the lake to give us
nice.
swim lessons.
Oh, cool.
Never happened,
Yeah.
but it was great.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, I'll tell you, every summer, there is a group that comes to Smith Lake. It's a group, it's a national group. They go all over to lakes all over the country, and it's a group called In His Wake. And they're a big deal. They have T-shirts that say, "Get off the dock." Underprivileged children and
Yeah.
folks come, and they've never been on the water, ever. And they come, and they're like, "I don't want to get in the water. I'm scared. There's things in the water, you know, and I might drown." And you get them, and they get going, and pretty soon, you know, you get them on rafts coming behind a fast boat.
Yeah.
By the time they go home, instead of saying, I don't really want to get in the water, they're like, "Please don't make us go home."
Yep.
Stay."
Yep.
It's just wonderful.
It is. We had a clean trip that was similar to that. It was a city school. I can't remember which one it was now, but bunch of kids. We paddle up the same thing we do on the canoe cruise. Paddle up the little Cahaba right up above 280, and we get there and we stop off. And I'm talking to a couple of the kids, and and I'm like, "Are you guys gonna swim?" And they said, "No, black people don't swim." I said, "Latanya, what do you think about that?" Latanya's our education director, and she just runs, jumps off the bank, and belly flops into the water. Every kid followed her. It was incredible. It was so cool. And the same thing. They didn't want to go home. Did you want to share yours?
I just wanted to share, watching everybody as they shared their stories, there was so much laughter and joy generated, just remembering the times being in Nation.
Did you read the rest of this? What are you doing? Anybody else? Yeah.
So, my children now are 31 and 32 years old. They were born in San Francisco, lived in Tokyo, lived in Chapel Hill, and then I fell in love with a man from Alabama who lived on Smith Lake. So,
Lucky them.
they maybe thought that the worst thing in the world had happened. I don't know. They love him, so thank goodness. But it was we moved to Smith Lake full time when they were going into high school. Pretty dicey decision.
Yeah.
And they went to the little prep school up there, St. Bernard. But it was so much of having a family together was about the water. Like
That's amazing.
coming home from school at the end of the day after their sports, and all of us just jumping in the water and swimming, having their friends over, and being able to go out on the boat. It actually turned out to be a magical time. Really lovely. And it's a lot of us becoming a family together was around having that water.
Oh, I love that. Anyone else? Okay. When I've done this exercise with participants on CRS trips, I see a lot of different emotions Some students remember fondly their time walking the small creek in their grandparents' yard. Some remember a time at a neighborhood pool. One student remembered a traumatizing time that her brother threw her into a shallow creek. The whole class laughed, and her brother, standing 5 feet away, just shrugged. Mostly after sharing our stories, I see smiles throughout the group, much like the ones I see here. One common theme I've found when asking this question is community. Likely because I'm asking for your first experience, and it's not great practice to leave a child alone near water, there are oftentimes others in the story. Not just as part of the story, but as part of the experience. My brother threw me down the bank of the creek. My grandparents walked with me over the pebbles. My friend William and I made a mudslide. While they are our stories, they're not ours alone. Passion leads to purpose. At CRS, much of our purpose is building community. Through our recreation and stewardship programs, we aim to explore purpose and build community. We wholeheartedly believe, again, that people are more likely to protect something, to care about something when they know that thing. We want to give everyone the opportunity to know the Cahaba and to know it well. Now that we've ignited passion, found purpose, and built community, what do we do with it? Earlier I asked who cares for the gift freely given to us. It is, of course, us. A knowledgeable, caring community of individuals intent on expanding access and opportunity while protecting the ecosystem, the natural place, the nature of the Cahaba River. A community with which St. Stephen's is squarely a part. Over the last 2 years, St. Stephen's has done what John Burris and I are calling a canoe-karist. We paddle a short mile or so up the Cahaba River and then up the Little Cahaba River, find a few spots to stop and hear John give a sermon along the way, pull off on the bank, break bread, and celebrate. It has been such a wonderful experience to witness the community that you have. Both years I've heard from multiple people, and again today, how close God feels in that space. How easy it is to feel the Spirit and the love. Trips like these are reminders of what time and creation can do for the soul. This work has no end. That spiritual connection takes continuous work. Every day there are new struggles to work through, and it's the same with the work we do at CRS. Every year is a new class of students, another pound of trash in the river, and another proposed road widening or shopping center. It's through passion that we have come here, through purpose that we stay, and through community that we find meaning. In Genesis, God gave creation to Adam and Eve. They may have left the garden, but I believe the garden is still there waiting for those who are willing to look. There's an unquestionable peace in nature. Come find it on the Cahaba with CRS. Thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it. I think we have some time for questions. If you guys have any burning questions. Yeah?
Is there something going on with Pump House and Alabama Public Transportation that you're aware of?
I got a call recently from a woman, can't remember her name now, who lives on Pump House Road, and that's part of a road widening that's happening on, I think they're widening Pump House up there, so they're going to remove some forest, cover up a stream, which they do all the time, and widen the bridge, I believe, is the plans that I saw. There's a website, I think it's called savepumphouse.org or .com. I think if you throw that into Google, you'll probably get a response. And there's a lot of really good information on there, who you can contact, what the proposed project is, all that kind of stuff.
They're also putting a roundabout here at Duvay Street.
Okay. More and more. And I mean, that's something that we want our city to grow and to flourish, and development is part of that. And that's not a bad thing, right? We still need schools and hospitals and wider roads, so less traffic, whatever you want to do. But it's not those kinds of work. It's the work that happens elsewhere in the watershed. Green infrastructure is huge. Retention ponds, rain gardens, bioswales, if we can start seeing those, permeable pavers elsewhere in the watershed, that's what slows the flow of the water, replenishes groundwater. Rivers are filled by groundwater. That river is very low right now. It hasn't rained, but it still has water because there's still water under the ground, right? But when we take away the forest, these permeable surfaces that water can soak into, and we just allow the water to go into a pipe and get into the river, we're not replenishing the stores that replenish the river. Make sense? Did you have your hand up?
What's the difference, what are the different functions of the Cahaba River Society and Cahaba River Keeper?
That is a great question. So we see ourselves more as collaborative. River keepers in general have a staff attorney, so they are more litigious. We have been in a couple lawsuits ourselves since the 80s. But that's one difference. They have a lawyer on staff, and we usually consult with like the Southern Environmental Law Center, SELC. We do more education. They do more water sampling. There's a lot of overlap, but it's nice. The river's big. We're one small organization. They're one small organization. So it's really nice. Like, for instance, the Moody landfill fire, we knew that we didn't really have to be as involved because David Butler and the River Keepers were out there doing their thing. So same goal, a little bit of different approaches. And that was cryptic because there's not a big difference, Yeah. We have a stronger recreation program, stewardship program, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So ways to support you, I would imagine, financial contributions. What else?
You can come and pick up some trash with me. That's always fun. Financial contributions is great. The car tag, you can see a couple of them in the parking lot. It's blue, has a Cahaba lily and a little otter on it. That is an awesome way that you can show your support. I love it every single time I see one. I'm thinking about starting some kind of Facebook thing where like I take a picture of it and say some hashtag and thank you, because that is a huge way to support us, is just buying that car tag. I think it costs $50 some odd, and we get 44 of those dollars. So it's a vast majority of those funds come straight to us. Yeah, spreading the word, talking about us and what we do. We'll always take your money, though. Anything else? Has anyone never been in the Cahaba? I like this. That's a good group. Well, thank you all so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. I'll be hanging around if you got any more questions. Thanks.